You woke up this morning, you made your coffee, maybe you sat by the window for a little while, and everything seemed fine. But let me ask you something, and I need you to really think about this before you answer. When was the last time you felt like yourself? Not just okay, not just I'm managing, but truly deeply yourself. The way you felt 10 years ago, 20 years ago, when your body listened to you, when you woke up and didn't have to negotiate with your own legs just to get out of bed. If that question made you pause, if something inside you shifted just now, then what you're about to hear in the next few minutes may be the most important thing you have listened to in years. Because there is a warning sign, one that millions of people over 65 are experiencing right now, today, every single day, and most of them think it's just aging. It's not. You've lived a full life, you raised children, or you helped raise others. You worked, really worked, with your hands, your mind, your heart. You showed up when it was hard. You kept going when most people would have stopped. You are not a quitter. You never were. And that's exactly why this is so dangerous for people like you. Because when something starts going wrong, slowly, quietly, almost invisibly, people like you don't stop and say, something is wrong. People like you say, I'm just tired. It's my age. Everyone goes through this. And you push through because that's who you are. But here's what no one tells you. That pushing through, that incredible strength that carried you through decades of life can become the very thing that keeps you from seeing what's really happening in your body. The warning sign I'm going to show you today doesn't announce itself with pain. It doesn't send you to the emergency room. It creeps in, slowly, like a shadow. And by the time most people notice it, really notice it, it's already been stealing from them for years. Maybe you've already noticed something. A heaviness that doesn't go away after sleep. A fogginess in your thinking, like your mind is working through thick glass. Mornings that feel harder than they used to. Stairs that feel steeper. A body that just doesn't bounce back the way it once did. And maybe you did what most sensible people do. You figured, I need to move more, so you started walking every day a little bit. Maybe you joined a class, maybe you pushed yourself, and for a while, maybe it helped, or maybe it didn't, or maybe it helped a little, and then stopped. Here's the hard truth about exercise at this stage of life. Movement is vital. Don't misunderstand me. Your body needs to move. But if the root cause of what's draining you isn't addressed, if the real problem is still there, underneath, then exercise is like painting over a crack in the wall. It might look better for a moment, but the crack is still there, growing. The reason so many people over 65 feel like they're doing everything right and still feel exhausted, foggy, heavy, slow, is because they're fighting the symptom, not the source. So then maybe you looked at your diet, you cut back on salt, you gave up sugar, or tried to. You started eating more vegetables, more fiber, more of what the doctor suggested. And again, maybe it helped a little. Or maybe you sacrificed the simple pleasures of a meal and still woke up the next morning feeling the same way. There is something heartbreaking about that moment. When you're doing everything right, when you're being disciplined, careful, responsible, and your body still doesn't respond the way you hoped, it makes a person wonder, is this just what old feels like? Is this just my life now? I want you to hear me clearly right now. No, it is not. What you are experiencing is not inevitable. It is not simply the price of getting older, and it is not something you have to just accept. But here's what is true. The conventional advice, eat less, move more, sleep well, was designed for a younger body. A body over 65 operates by different rules, different chemistry, different needs. And without understanding those differences, You can follow every guideline perfectly and still feel like you're slowly fading. That fading feeling, that is the warning sign. And then you did the responsible thing. You went to your doctor. You told them about the fatigue, the faking, the heaviness, the feeling that something is off. And they ran some tests and they looked at the results and they said, your numbers look fine. Everything seems normal for your age. You're doing well. And you walked out of that office with a clean bill of health on paper and still feeling exactly the same way you felt when you walked in. If this has happened to you, I need you to know something. You are not crazy. You are not imagining it. You are not being dramatic. Standard blood panels were not designed to detect the specific kind of internal decline that happens quietly in the body after 65. There are processes happening right now, cellular, hormonal, neurological, that won't show up in a basic test. That won't trigger any alarm on a chart, but they are happening, and they are real, and they explain everything you've been feeling. The body you're living in right now is sending you a signal. It has been sending it for a while. The question is, are you ready to hear it? Here's what the science shows. And I'm going to keep this simple because the truth doesn't need to be complicated. After the age of 60, and for many people even earlier, the body begins to lose its ability to properly absorb and use certain critical compounds. Compounds that regulate energy, that protect the brain, that keep inflammation low, that support the lining of your gut, the strength of your muscles, and the clarity of your mind. This is not a disease. It doesn't have a dramatic name. It won't show up on most standard tests. It's a slow, quiet depletion. And as these compounds decline quietly, invisibly, your body starts to compensate. It pulls energy from places it shouldn't. It lets inflammation rise a little higher than it should. It starts to slow things down. Metabolism, cognition, recovery, to preserve what little it has left. And you feel it. You feel it as fatigue that sleep doesn't fix, as a mind that used to be sharp, now struggling to find words, as a body that used to be resilient, now taking twice as long to recover, as a heaviness that just lives in you now. This is the warning sign, not dramatic, not sudden, just a slow, steady dimming of energy, of clarity, of vitality. And most people never connect the dots. They just keep thinking, this is what getting old feels like, but it doesn't have to be. I want to tell you about people, real people, over 65, who were exactly where you might be right now. There was a woman, 71 years old, who had spent 3 years telling herself that the exhaustion was just part of life, that the brain fog was just aging, that waking up tired was just what mornings were now. She wasn't depressed, she wasn't sick, not in any way her doctor could name. She was just dimmer than she used to be. And then something changed, not a miracle, not overnight, but over the course of a few weeks, after addressing the specific depletion happening in her body, she started to notice things. Small things first. She woke up one morning and didn't feel like she had to fight to start the day. Her thinking felt clearer. She had a conversation with her daughter and realized she hadn't lost a single word. Then bigger things. Energy she hadn't felt in years. A desire to go outside, not because she should, but because she wanted to. She started cooking again, reading again, laughing more. She said something I've never forgotten. She said, I didn't realize how much I had lost until I started getting it back. That is what this is about. Not about living forever, not about turning back the clock. It's about getting back what's yours, the sharpness, the energy, the presence, the version of you that still lives inside you. That's just waiting for the right conditions to come forward again. We started this conversation with a question. When was the last time you felt like yourself? I hope by now something has shifted. Not because of what I've told you, but because of what you already knew somewhere deep inside before you ever clicked on this video. You knew something was off. You've known for a while. You just needed someone to say, you're not imagining it, you're not too old to feel better, and you are not alone. What I want you to do right now is simple. Don't close this window just yet. Look below this video. There is a link. It will take you to something I believe every person over 65 deserves to see. Information about the specific process I described today and what others have done to support their body through it. No pressure, no obligation, just information. Because you have spent your whole life showing up for other people, it might be time to show up for yourself. Take care of that body. It has carried you a long, long way, and it's not done yet.